Welcome to another episode of Sanford Says. I'm Lisa Holder, Chief Communications and Cultural Affairs Administrator for the City of Sanford, and we have a great topic today. We're talking about the newly formed Sanford Cultural Guild, and today the founders of Sanford Cultural Guild are here with us. Robin Theisen. Hi, Robin.
Hi.
And Caroline Garcia. Hi, Caroline.
Hi, Lisa.
No stranger to the podcast, right? You guys are different. Yeah. And then you have a third person, Sarah Clore.
Yes.
And
she could not be here today.
She's not here today. But you reached out, and we find this very interesting. Of course, the community and the residents that want to help and improve and enhance Sanford, and you're doing this as all volunteers. And we'd like to know more about the Sanford Cultural Guild and what your mission is and what you hope to accomplish and all of that. So,
absolutely.
Want to start?
We thought it might be a good place to start to talk about the garden tour, which is our main event, and how it came to be. And I'll turn that over to Robin. She's a fourth generation Sanfordite, Sanfordian.
Is that right?
Yes, I am.
There's a lot of those fourth and fifth generation people in the city.
Yes.
So longtime Sanford resident Sarah Miller started the garden tour some 20 odd years ago, and I volunteered on it, and it was an absolutely wonderful event. I was so happy and engaged with the gardens, and people loved it. So 3 years ago, I talked to Caroline about bringing it back. So under the Sanford Historic Trust, we brought garden tour back 3 years ago, and we did it again last year. And this year, we will be hosting the garden tour under our new nonprofit, Sanford Cultural Guild.
Wonderful. And I mean, I've heard such wonderful things about the garden tour, and
Thank you.
You'll share some more about it and how people can get involved. And
since we brought it back, so 2021, we were just coming off of COVID, and I was still a board member on the Sanford Historic Trust, who are doing wonderful things as a nonprofit, and that was an eye-opener as to indoor events, not necessarily needing to diversify. So Robin had this concept of bringing back the garden tour, and it was wonderful success. Last year, we sold over 800 tickets.
Yeah.
Wow,
it's getting bigger and bigger every year.
Yeah, and so you can explain what that is What is the garden tour,
so
right?
What
do you do?
With the $15 ticket, you tour private gardens in the historic district, and a few, in this year's instance, a few outside of the historic district, but all very different and unique gardens throughout downtown Sanford. We also have other aspects to the event that I'll discuss in just a bit. But we, as a new nonprofit, I think I should start by just talking about who we are as the Sanford Cultural Guild. So our mission is to enhance the artistic and cultural significance of Sanford through valuable events and beautification projects. Not necessarily landscape only, but just to continue to make Sanford look more beautiful. And so many things are being done, initiatives throughout the city and other nonprofits. And we thought taking the funds from what we raise via garden tour and applying them in different aspects throughout the city, and how we could, continue to be involved in making Sanford even more beautiful than it already is. So it could also relate to a mural and supporting that. But we're open to listening to the community and hearing what else they want to see. Our short-term projects include an alleyway beautification initiative. I'm not throwing stones because my alleyway is by no means in great condition. They are part of our property, as anyone who, even outside of the district, folks in Sanford Heights and elsewhere have alleyways. I think that they can be forgotten, but having some landscape back there that is drought tolerant, obviously most of us don't have irrigation, but it would be a way to enhance that part of the downtown, as well as provide pollinator plants. And how do we also help in an urban setting? How do we help cultivate more pollinators, especially as we're a pollinator city now.
Right.
And so
Monarch
tying
butterfly
into that,
city
Yes.
too. Yeah.
Native
yes,
plants.
the monarch city. So
Yeah.
that is one of our short-term goals, and in the coming 2024, we'll be working on that, looking to partner with a nursery and try to offer some folks some discounts and also maybe some seeds. And we're still in the works as to what exactly we want to offer, but that will be one of our first bigger projects, is the alleyway beautification.
Yeah.
We also have heard from other folks that have kind of helped us get off the ground. But for example, George Toohey Park, those are all historic trees brought in from orchards of historical significance in other parts of the country. And in some cases, they're not doing the best, probably because they weren't intended to grow in Florida. So we feel that hiring an arborist that could come in and assess these trees, help us figure out what, if anything, can be done. So that's just a few examples of year to year how we would like to contribute. And again, also from an artistic standpoint, mural installations and partnering with the city is also something we've considered. Our long-term goal, and this is in the very early stages with the city, is a botanical garden in conjunction with the Sanford Museum. And I'll let Robin share a little bit more about that.
So the Sanford Museum is at the site of Henry Sanford's original test gardens. He brought thousands of plants right here to Sanford and tested them, those that worked in the area in our climate and those that did not. And all that information is at the University of Florida. So it seemed appropriate that a botanical garden largely dedicated to this idea would be at the Sanford Museum. So we are partnering with the city. It's a long-term goal. There's many components to it. We hope to have native plant gardens and highlight other things and really bring something to the community.
And also to enhance the museum, we think that down the road, if we did develop a botanical garden, that maybe it could lead to the museum having a charge for entry, $5, but something that could support the museum.
Yeah.
And another added component to the educational part of the museum is that, school groups and everything, kids could really learn about our local history and...
Right. Yeah, and I was going to say, for those that may not know, Henry Sanford is the city's founder. Let's just put that note in there, because he's not just some guy. He's,
I guess I take that for granted.
So we have to think about that. But yes, that sounds wonderful. I mean, for a botanical. Now, can you tell me what a botanical garden is versus a regular garden? Like, what is the difference?
Well, I think on a not quite a grand scale, if you think Lou Gardens, Mead Botanical Gardens. So it's a huge garden open to the public for viewing that will have a wide variety of plants. So like we will have feature Florida native plants from Florida Native Plant Society, those plants that Henry Sanford brought here that did well, labeled. A memory garden. We may have a shade garden.
Nice.
We may have a rose garden. So it's kind of different rooms of gardens in different zones. And
beautiful.
And as far as maintenance goes, partnering with master gardeners, they need volunteer hours. So it could work as an even trade. We need these plants that we don't, we need the education in order to maintain them.
Garden clubs.
They need the hours, and so we feel that would be a very good solution for how we continue to maintain the botanical garden.
It's just such a wonderful added component to what we have going on here in Sanford. It's just, I mean,
thank you.
It just is another layer of how awesome the city can be is through nature and gardening and all of that. So
and the city is willingly and generously offered to, the green space in between Fort Mellon Park and the museum, a portion of that would be set aside for this project. So again, our very long-term goal, but we're very excited, and that's something that kind of keeps us going in the depths of garden tour planning, which I can now discuss a little bit. So mark your calendars for Saturday, May 6th from 10 to 4. We have 13 private gardens on this year's tour, in addition to the community garden, which is also private. You have to be a member
Right.
to enter. So
I was
you'll
going to
have a
ask
free
you about
tour.
that.
Yes.
Sanford's on 18th Street,
On
right?
18th, so
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
included. We partner with them every year and love to have their support. This year they will be passing out seeds, and they also have local educators who specialize in vegetables and edible gardening.
Right.
So they will be here to answer any questions.
Okay.
So I mentioned the date, time. Tickets you can purchase on Eventbrite. Follow us on social media, either Facebook or Instagram, Sanford Cultural Guild, and that will you'll be able through that platform to find our Eventbrite ticket link. If you also search on Eventbrite for the 2023 Sanford Historic Garden Tour, you may find it there as well. Tickets are $15 per person. And we would love to thank Commissioner Sheena Britton and Commissioner Patty Mahaney for sponsoring this year's garden tour. We are so thankful and appreciative of the city's continued support. Robin, what other events are we up to this year?
So this year, coming up in the fall, we have our first, hopefully annual tea that we will be hosting. We are also hosting the Ikebana International's yearly exhibit. That has been hosted by Lou Gardens for probably 30 years, and this year it will be in the city of Sanford, hosted by the Sanford Cultural Guild.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Repeat that again.
tell us about Ikebana.
Ikebana
I
is
didn't know.
It's not like that.
I said, Robin, what is that?
It has nothing to do with that Charles Dickens character.
No.
Sorry about that.
Ikebana
Okay.
is the art of Japanese flower arranging. So it is a very precise way of flower arranging, and it is very
Nice.
beautiful. There's components to it, and every year it's very big in Central Florida. It was actually brought here from Japan about 55 years ago. In fact, they have their 55th anniversary they celebrate this year. And so they do an exhibit every year for people to come and see what Ikebana is all about and look at the beautiful exhibits. And this year it will be in Sanford.
That's wonderful news.
Yes.
Yes,
We're very excited about
about
In the
that.
fall, so we'll
Yes.
hear more
Yes,
about
that will
that.
be October.
Okay.
We'll
Yes.
start to get some postings out
Yes.
following garden tour.
Well, I mean, it's no wonder you ladies have done some incredible work with the Sanford Historic Trust, and so bringing
you.
those creativity and that thought and the leadership and everything to this it sounds really wonderful.
We're really grateful,
Thank
and the trust was supportive. They are doing some really great initiative. They have a grant program at the moment, obviously continuing the tour of homes, and have some wonderful projects that they're taking on. I think that from their perspective, continuing the event under their umbrella was lacking in manpower, because let's face it, it takes a lot to put these events on year after year. And so with their blessing, it seemed really appropriate for us to continue this under our new nonprofit and be able to focus and reinvest the funds
Great.
into Sanford.
Now, can people join your nonprofit? Is there a membership fee?
Yeah, so
Yes,
you
they
do not need to be a member. However, we are so welcoming and encouraging of folks to become what we're referring to as a friend of the guild. That's a $30 per year membership. You get discounted tickets for our events, including the garden tour, and you will also receive a quarterly newsletter. We think it's important. So we are a nonprofit, and we are going to reinvest the funds raised back into Sanford. And we think that a quarterly newsletter is the best way to maintain accountability with our community and our supporters, letting them know these are the funds raised, this is where it's going, this is what we're doing. And so again, a friend of the guild, $30 per year. And also, I invite anyone to follow us on social media. Again, that's Sanford Cultural Guild on either Facebook or Instagram. We're posting as much as we can to remind folks. And then just to kind of circle back to the garden tour and some other aspects of the event that we have. We have Gallery on First organizes every year some plein air artists for us. So we have 9 artists this year that will be located in the gardens throughout the garden tour. So you'll be able to observe them painting.
Beautiful.
And then we also have a silent auction pre-finished artwork either by the plein air artists that are participating and also other artists of Gallery on First.
Yeah.
So that will be in Centennial Park. There's a lot going on in Centennial Park for the garden tour.
That's where the gazebo is, across from
Yes.
Betty Smith Cultural Arts
Exactly.
Center.
So and Betty Smith Cultural Arts is our headquarters. So
Oh, okay.
and that will be true year after year. We
Right.
plan to invest. In fact, Robin is a member of the Exora Garden Club, and they just assisted the City of Sanford with redoing the landscaping in front of the Cultural Arts Center. So year after year, we are going to make the Cultural Arts Center our headquarters.
Nice.
It works so well for our purpose. So when you pre-purchase tickets on Eventbrite, you go to the Cultural Arts Center to pick up. If you're purchasing day of tickets, that's where you go to purchase your ticket.
Okay.
We also have a tea lunch available, and George's Catering of Winter Park is putting together our tea lunches this year. So you may purchase that on Eventbrite. That is only available for pre-purchase. So I
Okay.
encourage folks, if you want one of George's delicious tea lunches, go ahead and pre-purchase that so that it's reserved. But you would also pick up your lunch at the Cultural Arts Center.
Is this the same? You're talking the same day as
Yes.
May 6th? Okay.
Yep. So that's
Okay.
where you pick up your tickets. You can pick up your tea lunch. We also have the Historical Rose Society and the
Orchid Society. Greater Orlando Orchid Society will be there with displays as well.
Yeah, their
Okay.
plants can be a little temperamental, so they need air conditioned.
Yeah, so
I
they're
see.
inside.
Now, is there ability to purchase plants and things?
Yes,
during this
so
time?
right
Okay.
across the street in Centennial Park, where I
Okay.
just mentioned the silent auction taking place,
Okay.
we will have a plant sale and then a vendor market. So
Okay.
we've secured wonderful local vendors offering tons of different items. Mother's Day is the following weekend.
Right.
So this is either a great gift to bring your mom on the garden tour or get her something
Yes.
locally made, support local, pick something up in our vendor market or our plant sale and give it to her the following weekend.
Yeah.
So the silent auction, plant sale, vendor market are all happening in Centennial Park. And then what educators do we have? Robin is in charge of our educator component, and we have so many wonderful local resources this
So
year.
part of Garden Tour also is educating people.
Yeah.
So we have bee specialists that will be there to educate about the bees. We have the Florida Bat Conservancy.
Oh, okay.
She's also selling bat houses.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because we do have bats in this
We-
area.
we have
Oh,
a
and
lot
they're
of
so beneficial.
Yes.
They're very
pop
beneficial.
Pop a bat house up and keep them out of your home,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
they'll eat all your insects,
Yeah.
all the mosquitoes.
We like that in Florida.
Yes.
Yes, we have Bear Warriors, who's an educator about how to handle the bear
Oh,
Really?
crisis that we are
population, yes.
having, the
So
bear
cool.
population. Yes.
Pollinator. We have a local butterfly
Educators. We have Edible Landscape from Orlando that teaches you how to landscape with edibles in your yard.
Mhm.
Okay. So it sounds like to me this is a great family event.
Oh,
right?
we strongly encourage
Encourage
coming with
family?
kids. And 3 and under are free.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, what a great thing to bring your
Yeah.
kids to.
Bring your bikes, your golf
Yes.
cart. You can drive. So it is self-guided. When you come to Cultural Arts and pick up your map, even if you pre-purchase your tickets, you still need to come there to check in, get your wristbands for access to the private gardens, and then get your map.
Okay.
And we have organized it in a specific route, so you can go through the stops, but it is self-guided, so you can stay for as little or as long in each garden as you would like.
Now you said you had how many? 13 gardens?
13 gardens, including the community garden. Yeah, this is
Okay.
a very big tour this year.
Yeah. Now let me ask you. So for those of us who love to walk with our dogs, now
Mhm.
are these in the front of people's houses, or should you keep your?
So,
what do you
no,
think
we
about that?
We
You
can't
prob-
allow pets in the backyard.
Oh, great.
Certainly,
Okay.
if you want to bring your pet, some folks take turns. So
Right.
especially if you're walking, this would be, in my opinion, the 13 stops, because we have 2 outside of the historic
Right.
district. It would be a little much. You'd get your
Much.
exercise,
Yeah.
get your
Yeah.
steps.
It's going to be a long walk.
A
To
lot
the-
of it is
yeah.
walkable,
Yeah.
but I would certainly recommend bringing a bicycle, golf cart, or car.
Okay.
But you're more than welcome to take turns if you want to leave your
right.
furry friend in the golf cart.
Right.
And we've even done that with the kids sometimes.
Yeah.
Because towards the end of the tour,
yeah.
they're just like too tired. And so my
Right,
husband,
right.
I'm like, I'll stay in the golf cart.
with
you go
another
in."
person.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not alone. One of us remains with the children.
Okay.
Yeah, I should have specified that.
Wow. Okay. So this is really just something. I mean, I'm super impressed. I know
Thank
that
you.
you. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
we love putting this on, and so our educators are a huge component. Really, the support of, like, for example, what Gallery on First has helped us accomplish with their talent. I feel like we're forgetting some sort of component. The vendor market, plant sale.
We will have some musicians.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Of
we will
course.
have
Yeah,
some
we have local
musicians.
musicians, and each garden has a sponsor this year. So we've organized it. We have our title sponsor is Thomas Moreno. Have been a long time supporter of the garden tour. They did the beautiful rose garden last year in Centennial Park. So they're our title sponsor this year, and then each garden has its own sponsor, and we're very grateful to every single sponsor is a locally owned business, and we just feel the love and support from our community.
So it wasn't just the three of you ladies putting this on. You've got to have like a whole committee of people, right?
Honestly, we have a committee lead. We've had a lot of help from folks. For example, Barry and Debbie Kirsch have been on the garden tour every year. Barry is a master gardener. They have assisted us in hosting a mixer in February we were able to invite folks that have helped us in the past, either by being on the tour or helping us in a volunteer capacity.
Kind of introducing ourselves
and our new nonprofit, and just to let folks know what we've been up to. We wanted to try to keep things under wraps until we were officially an established nonprofit and legitimate in all the ways in which we needed to be.
This is great.
So we are very grateful for their support. And Sherry Wysong is handling volunteers for us, and that's major. That's a huge undertaking. Thank you, Sherry, for listening.
Yes, thank you, Sherry, so very much.
And that also I should mention. So we do need volunteers. It involves being a docent at the gardens, which basically means you check wristbands, you greet people, you kind of guide traffic flow. If you volunteer for 3 hours, you receive a free ticket to the garden tour. That link for sign up can also be found on our social media pages. So if you're interested in supporting us and maybe don't want to commit to the $30 friend of the guild, this is a way that honestly we need it just as much as we need monetary donations. We need human bodies to help us on event day. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, and I think it fits perfectly with Sanford's backdrop, especially in the historic district, to have a garden tour. It's just like a no-brainer. It just like everything else that we do right down there in that area. But I mean, the whole city, you're not just focusing on
No, we're not.
Overall,
we're not focusing on the
right?
historic district. We say downtown Sanford, but we would love to partner with Goldsboro in the future, and maybe the Goldsboro Museum. We absolutely we want to support and uplift Sanford as a whole. And so as we are really we're continuing to do what we know how to do, and that's put on a great garden tour. And now that we are a legitimate nonprofit, we're really considering all the ways in which we can help, and we're in this for the long haul. I mean, we are very committed to this project. The three of us work well together. We're friends outside of this, and that makes a big difference because you need to really like who you're working with.
It sure does. But so you all are longtime residents, and even Miss Sherry Wysong and everybody that you mentioned here, and so the city couldn't thrive the way we do without the private sector and the residents helping and to do this.
And
we can't do it on our own.
I'm a realtor, and so I do sell houses in the area, and people are just as excited about what's behind the gate as much as they are what's behind the front door. All of these gardens, and even some of the ones that I hadn't seen until we recruited them for this year, they have so much personality and are so unique to their owners and to the style of home. And we would just love to show that off. Yeah,
that's wonderful. So we want people that are listening that are not from Sanford. Everybody knows how wonderful Sanford is here. Come buy your tickets. Come see the city. Come visit, and then go downtown, have a bite to eat or something like that. But this is Saturday that you want to definitely get here.
Saturday, May 6th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
All right. And any last words?
No, find us on social media, Sanford Cultural Guild, and we'll see you Saturday, May 6th for the garden tour.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Robin and Caroline, for being on the show. This is, like I said, super awesome, and we'll continue to help promote the guild. And thank you for your efforts
Thank you.
in
Thank you
helping.
so
Thanks
much
for
for
having us.
having
We
us.
really
Yes.
appreciate it.
We appreciate it.
You're welcome. This is Lisa Holder, Chief Communications and Cultural Affairs Administrator for the City of Sanford. Thank you for listening to Sanford Says. You can find this podcast wherever you subscribe to your favorite podcast and on the city website at sanfordfl.gov. Until next time, have a great day. Bye now.